Is this hidden egg keeping you fat? All of us here at Precision Slim have been putting together our best info for you so you can empower yourself to use all the uncommon tools and knowledge available these days to win the fight against fat. As a team, we slim countless inches of fat off of our clients' bodies here at Precision Slim. We're obsessed with the subject because we love our jobs as MasterSlimmers. However, we realize not everyone is going to be fortunate enough to be one of our body contouring clients, people who get their fat personally removed by us. So we're spilling the tea on what works and what doesn't. Plus, we're demystifying fat loss while we're at it. This way, even if we never see you, we can still help you on your journey. Anyways, we're going to answer the question in this video that we hear all the time. Why does it get harder to lose fat the more of it you put on? So here's a wild question to start things off. Pretend I give you a large piece of paper and I ask you to fold it over. And then I ask you to take that folded paper and fold it again and again and again until you have folded the original paper 50 times. How tall do you think the final stack is going to be? By the time you get the answer later on in this video, your mind will be ready for the shocking truth. I promise it's worth the wait, and you can use it at your next Chardonnay Club meeting to boggle minds. Now, I have to confess that one of my guilty pleasures are zombie apocalypse movies. Body snatcher type movies are fantastic too. But you know the ones, right? Where one person disappears and they come back totally transformed. Then one by one, and then like 1,000 by 1,000, everyone gets converted until there's only one person left. Excess fat on your body is like those zombies and body snatchers. Nerd alert, we're gonna go kind of deep into some science here, but don't worry, don't be intimidated, it's all gonna make sense. I'll try to make it as interesting to you as it is for the team here. And even if I fail to do that, I promise it will make sense and it'll be useful. So the reason why fat acts like those creepers towards your body is because there's actually a natural principle at play in getting fat and civilization being overrun. Mathematicians call it exponential geometric growth, or EGG for short. Believe us, this is one bad egg. The most powerful force in the universe is compound interest. But when exponential growth begins with body fat, it's like getting on the wrong side of compound interest. So take a look at this chart representing a population explosion. Here's the key idea. What starts off slow, if not stopped, over time, takes off and accelerates out of control. And ultimately, it becomes almost impossible to reverse the course of the growth. Now, how does that apply to humans and getting fat? Now, the scenario I'm about to lay out for you may seem very, very familiar because it's actually what happens for most people who lose the fight against fat. Maybe at one point they started off totally lean, but a few extra inches creeped in, and then a few more inches accumulate even faster until the fat starts packing on so fast it's beyond their control. That's egg at work. The key concept of exponential growth in the zombie movies is that the population growth rate, meaning the number of zombies added in each generation, increases as the population of zombies gets larger. This explains why the living always get outnumbered by the end, and why the outbreak picks up such crazy velocity towards the end. The undead turn the living into them, and then the process repeats and accelerates faster and faster. That's the basic idea. Now let's bring it into your fat fight. We tend to think of things at a very surface level in general, even more so when it comes to fat. Fat is anything but simple though. Fat is not just an energy storage tool. It's far more complex. One of the things fat does is store hormones like leptin, insulin, estrogens, androgens, and more. More than anything, fat loss and fat gain is a game of hormones. If you know which hormones do what and how to control them, you become the master of your body composition. Some hormones make the body store more fat, and some hormones encourage fat loss, and they do battle, much like the living and undead in the movies we've been using as an analogy. Keep that in mind. So when the hormones responsible for accumulating fat on your body increase, with every expansion of the fat cells, they neutralize the fat-resisting hormones and eventually overtake them, which means more fat gets made. And that's exactly how a zombie turns a human into another zombie. But here's the crazy part. Once you get on the wrong side of this egg, it actually becomes more and more difficult to lose the fat until it's almost impossible. In fact, the fat resists the diet and exercise you're doing because the hormones in the fat are commanding the fat to stay packed on your body. So if you know what it's like to experience that frustration, it's not your fault. It's your body's survival mechanism to keep fat on for tough times. That's as hardwired into us at the same primal level as taking flight from a running tiger. Now here's the good news. We don't have to solve a problem that's as old as our cave-dwelling ancestors with a level of thinking that's just as outdated. Hint, caveman thinking looks like run fast, run lots. Sound familiar? Caveman thinking looks like eat nothing but bison. Look familiar? The calories in, calories out model is woefully inadequate to turn the tide against complex biochemical processes. The bad news is that if you've been doing those things and it's not moving the needle the way you want, you may actually be making mistakes that are blocking your fat loss. And that means the egg wins. All right, remember that puzzle? Here's the answer I promised you. I asked you to imagine what would happen if you took a piece of paper, folded it over once, and then took that folded paper and folded it again and again and again until you refolded the original 50 times. Now, how tall do you think that stack is going to be? In answer to that question, most people will fold the sheet in their mind's eye and come up with a thickness that's about a phone book's width. The real answer is that the height of the stack would approximate the distance to the sun, and such the power of egg. Now, don't take my word for it. Look for this video on YouTube, Folding Paper to the Sun, right? You go deeper into the world of egg. This video answered the question of why it gets harder to lose the fat the more fat you gain. Leave a comment below if you want to learn how to turn the egg against itself in order to finally turn the tide on fat.